All right, we just landed 1G5, came in from Sullivan KSVI to meet with Ken Throckmorton with Forever Fence and Rail. Ken's been in business for about 5 years, I want to say, and we'll talk to him a little bit about his business and see what Ohio has to offer.
I'm Mark Olson. Luke Gibson and I have a combined 50 years in construction as fence contractors. In that time, we have both experienced failures and success. We travel the country talking with other contractors who share their experiences in hopes that their stories can make you a more successful contractor.
What's the B on your shirt?
It's a hornet.
Okay, what's the hornet?
It's the local high school mascot.
Oh, okay. You guys are like some sort of sponsor?
We help
See,
the
Forever
local
Fence and Rail are good guys.
sometimes.
Super good guys. They got CFP. These guys are serious. Right here, you know what that means? That means right there that he takes his job seriously. He's not just out building fence, he's trying to educate and uplift the industry. And
Great,
he's not just a CFP now, he's
CFC.
CFC, Certified Fence Contractor.
Yeah. And blue ribbon.
And Blue Ribbon. And CAGOI.
D. Working on the eye.
That was the shop. Where's the shop at?
We'll do that after.
See,
the end.
Ken is grown enough now that it's shop time. He's been working out of his house, which is what you do when you start off. 'Cause
And
it's
another
smart.
location. And I'll show you that right now.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the place. The place.
The place.
They sell hot tubs, fireplaces, cabanas
At the place.
at the place. But because they have a big entrance and a forklift, we worked out a deal where I pay a little bit every month.
Then you can stockpile some stuff
I
here.
can unload the trucks here where there's plenty of room to get in and out.
And then haul it to your job site later. Or
Yep. So this is 4 jobs waiting to get installed.
see, that's being resourceful. You needed something more centrally located with a forklift. You talk to a guy, he's letting you use his forklift, so you don't have to go buy one.
Right. Because the amount I'm paying him a month is cheaper than what a lease would be on one.
Yeah, on a forklift.
And there's no maintenance.
That's thinking. How can I save some money and still get the job done?
Right. And the entrance, I got 3 huge entrances for semis to come
Well,
in.
obviously, yeah, they're unloading hot tubs here. I think they could. So tell everybody how long you've been in business.
So
How you got started.
Forever Fence and Rail has been in business 6 years. I worked for another company prior for about, 2006 got hired in. I was a chef in my prior life, and then, I had my family, started my son and everything. Or started my son, had a son, but being a chef working 90 hours a week, I came home one day and picked him up and he cried like I was the biggest stranger. So I went for a local, you'll see here that Sharon Center is a small town. Someone sneezes one end of the town, someone says Gesundheit in the next end of the town, about
Or
3
gets
minutes.
COVID.
Or COVID, yeah, but 3 minutes, it's a small town, rumors get, anyhow. So they heard and said, hey, why don't you become a salesman for us? So I became a salesman, not knowing anything. Quoted my first job, which was a ornamental aluminum fence job, about 300 feet. Back then it was about $10,000, and I thought I had something wrong. There's no way someone's gonna spend $10,000 on a backyard fence. Not knowing anything, because I know a steak is $19.99. He looked, nope, you did it right. Eye opener. But sold the job. That was September. I was the 6th salesman hired in September. At the end of the year, I was number 2 salesman. The following year, beat the family out and was number 1 salesman. And then 2008 happened. You're not blood, see you later. Don't care if you're number 1 salesman or not. So
Number 1 salesman got axed.
Yep, because the whole economy thing hit the fan.
And let me guess, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yes and no. So I just bought a house, so I'm freaking out, not knowing what's going on. And he goes, look, I know you just bought a house. We can't have you sales, but we do need installers. At that time, I'm like, work's work, I'll take it. That was the best thing I ever did, because I learned a lot more from installing than I ever did selling. Because I know if I pulled a tape measure in a sales job, oh, it's this, yeah, by the time you get the little extra on either side of the fence, it'll be fine. Not realizing, no, there's gonna be a gap, or not learning the different grades to look at, looking for sprinkler heads and all that other things that you don't really think of when you're thinking of selling a fence. You just go in the measurement, move it on the road.
So pause right there for just a second. So if you if you were giving advice to other fence companies that are looking for salespeople,
I would say hire one of your installers.
move an installer up to somebody,
Yep.
and it may hurt for a little bit, but
You know, sales school, sales training school, myself and Pat Bailey teach, and that's one of the things I always say. Hire from within. They know your product already. They know how you sort of work, but they know, look, you're going to have installers say, I don't know why he did it this way. Well, if they're going to be a salesman, they're going to do a little better, hopefully.
because they know how it goes in. If you don't know how it goes in, it's
Right.
tough to see all the nuances and things that you need to be a really good salesman and not miss anything.
Well, and if you see a little bit, I mean, look, every house has a pitch away because you don't want water running towards the house. But some have more than others. Well, salesman's like, yeah, we'll put a gate here. Most of your gates, vinyl or ornamental, they're welded. They're tight, they're 90 degrees, perfectly square. Well, then when they get there, you know, the fence is for little Ruffy, the puppy dog, that, you know, the homeowner thinks is going to get out of 2 inches, but it's not really. And
Yep.
when you have the gate in the air on one side and on the ground on the other, they're like, what? No one ever told me about that. But if you installed it once and you're a better salesman and you explain these things, the customer's going to be happy. I've had customers tell me, wow, you really informed me a little bit. You're a little bit more, but I feel more comfortable with you because you already went through these things and there's not going to be any surprises. So yeah, let's go ahead and do business.
So you're telling them, hey, it's just the little things, like, hey, move the gate 10 feet off the house where it's flat again.
Right.
Put the gate down there.
How many times do you see the sprinkler valve at the side of the house? You don't see the box or you don't see the heads, but you see that little turnoff valve next to the house. You're like, oh, do you have sprinkler lines? Well, yeah, why? You're going to need to mark them because we will find them with the auger.
So I tell everybody, if it crosses the fence even once, and 1,000 feet, if there's one crossing, I'll find it.
Exactly.
100% every time there's a post right there. I don't care if it's 6-foot centers, 8-foot centers, 10-foot centers.
Yep.
There's a post right where the utility is.
Yep. So our good friend Tony Thornton basically says there's there's more, but legitimate fencers, there's 3 types in the AFA. One is a guy that does it out of his truck, has the insurance, just does it one crew by himself. Number 2 is a guy that has maybe 2 or 3 crews, has an extra building at their property, still has the insurance, but they've dedicated a building to their fence company. And number 3 is they have retail location, they have the actual multiple crews, they have showrooms. And so in the 6 years, at the end of this year, I'll be number 3.
So you're finally in that third category where now you've got a showroom, a retail space.
Yep, working on it right now.
So we'll get to go see that. You've been really excited about that. You found the piece of property, you had to clear it all out. You had to start from scratch, you know, pick out the location with the good visibility. And that's one thing I tell people, if you're looking for a location, it's better to pay more for one that has 20,000 people driving by it a day than pay a fraction of the cost and have the one that only has 1,000 people a day driving by.
And you'll see this is on a main through where I'm going to put the actual outdoor showroom. It's coming one way, it's not going to be as visible, but coming the other way, if you're not going to see it, you're blind. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But you know, it's like the Steve Harvey gotta take the jump. So
Yeah, jump.
I'm in the air right now. I'm hoping to catch that wave to come back up, but I'm free falling a little bit right now. But
Yeah.
you're going to do that with any build.
When we started our second location, so we went business always talking about maybe doing a second location, never actually doing it. We were always too scared. And then when we started, crashed and burned and started over, 2 years into it, we did a second location. And it was scary. It was scary as crap because we were signing a lease for 3 years and it's $3,500 a month, and where are we going to get this money, and are people going to come and buy stuff from us? And we have not tried to. We were working in that community as a commercial contractor, but not residentially. So, and it took us 3 years to build it.
Yeah.
And after the third year, that's when it's just off the hook. And it did the same thing. We that same year, like 4 months later, we went and got a really high-profile retail location for all of our fencing. And that was like jump number 2 that was super scary because that lease was $4,500 a month. And it took us 3 years again. And this year we are selling more stuff out of that store to do-it-yourselfers than we have ever in the history of
any company done. But we had to take that jump. And it took time. It wasn't like 1 year and done. It was a good thing I was in a 3-year lease, because 2 years into it, I might have given up.
So anyhow, back to the other fence company. So 2008, I'm installing fences. Best thing, and looking back, best thing I could have ever done. Well, then they go ahead and shut that business down because of financial
Still
and
never recovered.
legal issues. Then they turned around and said, we're no longer X business, we're A business. They opened that up and started that, and they had me as a general manager with promises in a couple years it would be my company and we'll figure it out, handshake agreement. Well, that went awry.
So lesson to other people is if you've got a guy and you've promised him stuff and he's one of your top performers, probably deliver on your promises.
Yep.
Would you say?
So he basically said, when we actually sat down, said, yes, thanks for getting our business back running. We're not there yet, but we think we can. And why don't you pay me X amount of dollars and assume this much debt, and business will be yours. After talking to a couple people and not having a non-compete, not having a contract,
I could take on no debt.
I could take no debt on. Digger Specialties is going to continue to go with me if I decide to go with this route, and that's the route we went.
And that's the start of Forever Fence.
That's the start of Forever Fence.
Then you can tell us all about your growing pains.
Yeah.
So we just got done talking with Ken about how he cut his teeth in the fence business, how he got from being a chef all the way to installing fences, which is a pretty big leap. In future videos, we'll be looking at his new shop as he talked about making the next step in his fencing career and his fence life, the natural progression from moving from a home-based business to a physical business with a retail location, stocking fence materials and serving retail customers as well as installing. And we'll sit down and interview him and talk about some of the struggles that he's had as he's moved along and where he thinks his business is going in the future. So stay tuned for future episodes of Forever Fence and Rail. Until next time, you have a good dang day.